excuse the fingers, I'm just doing this so I know what segments I'm doing in this series. So right, this is stage 1 of a series of videos of aquarium maintenance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up, start off with how to set up a brand new aquarium. I'm going to be answering a lot of questions here that I see posted on groups and Facebook, etc., of problems people are getting with water. Now you can see from this shot here, got a different setup up here. Move these tanks up a little bit because these are going to be, I'm going to have them as species only tanks and get a couple of pairs in each, or a pair in each, and have them breeding. You can see my main tank down here, that's more or less empty at the minute. I've cut my stock right down and getting proper organised now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show people how to set up. This is for complete beginners because I see this all the time. People have cloudy waters, they don't know what temperatures to set it up to, water parameters, numbers of fish, etc. So I'm going to start off here. I'll just measure it just to make sure I'm right. Got an 18-inch tank here, not a large one, so it's going to really be for a fry tank or some shellies or a small tank like that. So this is 18 by 12 high and 12 inches deep, so it's not a really big tank. Now as you can see down here, I've got, excuse the thumb, I've got a couple of tanks there. I've moved that big one, that's gone up there, that's all been cleaned out, ready to go. Now what I've got in there is some babies at the minute, but that there's an established system, so we're going to be setting this tank up here. Now that was a really dirty tank when I first got it. I've tailor-made a glass top to fit the top. It's just to keep the heat in. Now at the back I've put in some polystyrene. I've got some polystyrene underneath. That helps with balance, keep the heat in, etc. And it's going to be some at the back as well. Now this tank has been cleaned with a mild detergent and it's been thoroughly rinsed. Okay, so once you've got your aquarium thoroughly rinsed and clean, get it in situ, get a spirit level on it, make sure it's all nice, and you don't want no lines like that at the top of your tank. So now the next stage is this Unipack gravel. Well, they say gravel, it's aqua gravel. It's a medium coarseness of sand because I'm going to have it having it sand shifters, earth movers, etc, etc. Bit like my shellies down there, that's what that tank's going to be. So what I've got to do with that tank, with that gravel, before I do anything else, is get it thoroughly rinsed. So I'm going to be about an hour doing that because I want to make sure it's really clean before it goes into situ. Okay, I'll be back later. Right guys, next step, thermostat heater. I always have them a little bit higher wattage than what you really need, just a personal choice. I always think it's better to have too much than not enough. That's what my wife keeps telling me. Yeah, she was talking about thermostats. Right, this is a 200 watter. It is a bit large for that one, but it'll bring it up to temperature nice and quick. So that's your next step, thermostat heater. Now your starting temperature, rough guess for me, I'd go 76. You can see on there they're quite easy to just adjust it there onto 76. Well, I'm on 75, 25 and a half, 26 degrees. That's going to be ideal. And you're also going to need filtration system for your water. Now I'm using sponge filters in these small ones, so there it is. Now this has come out of an established system. This has already been in a tank and it's still not, well, yeah, it's still warm. Bacteria go dormant when it's cold, but this will still have, it's just had a rinse out in aquarium water, so it's still loads of good bacteria in that, and I'll explain a bit later on why. But that gives your aquarium a head start in the nitrogen cycle, which I'm going to explain a bit later on. So that, hey, I've got to tell you, it's Mother's Day today, isn't it? I've been down the town today to get the missus some bread. Not a bunch of flowers, some bread. You know how it is. You know, I'm sick, just because the sun's out, I'm sick to death of seeing all these people around in these flash bloody sunglasses. Look, absolutely, can't be doing with that, can you? Anyway, never mind. There's a bit of sun, out come the shorts, out come the posh glasses. Right guys, just show you what's happened there. Got about 2 inches of substrate in. Been really well rinsed. Well, it sounds like a Looney Tune cartoon, this, doesn't it? Got my filter in there ready to go, and my heater in ready to go. Now, just need to fill her up with water now. Right, here's the next good tip. Don't tell the missus, for God's sakes. Got one of my missus's best china plates in there. Well, it ain't china really, but it's one of her best in the plates. So when you put the water in the top, it doesn't splash all the substrate about. It hits the bottom of the water plate and then spreads nicely without making too much of a mess. So let's see how that goes. Right, my sand's been rinsing now for about 3/4 of an hour. It's had 4 or 5 good rinses. I'm just hey, I look cool in these, didn't I? I'm just letting it run through now. It's going to be absolutely gin clear, the water running through the sand. That gives your system a head start in the fight. The fight against the dreaded bloom. It's really difficult, this one-handed, but I'm going to try and show it you. Well, what I've done there, look, I've got that aquarium there. I'm going to half fill it with aquarium water and half fill it with fresh tap water. Now you can see how that's going in there now, look. I think you'll find that when that's full, you'll have a nice clean tank to start off with. What you do have to bear in mind is that within 2 or 3 days of you putting fish in, with you putting fish in and feeding, you're going to get a bacterial bloom. Now, you're going to get that for 2 or 3 days. Nothing you can do about it except keep feeding the system. Now, if you're starting off with a completely new system, it takes longer to clear. But if you can help yourself along the way by using water from another aquarium, substrate from another aquarium, or filter media from another aquarium. That's if you're using externals. So what will happen is you'll get a bloom form, which is all the ammonia and nitrites and traits and nitrites. Then the good bacteria take over, and that's what kills your bloom off. So your bloom is really bad bacteria, and this is what they call the nitrogen cycle, where you do have to cycle your aquarium to get rid of all the harmful nitrates, and it's nitrites that are poisonous to fish, which you get from the all the poo and leftover food. So there's another tip: don't overfeed them, because that rots and forms nitrates. Now, when your good bacteria get going, they turn the nitrites into nitrates, which are less harmful. And then obviously you remove your nitrates by doing your weekly water changes. So that's how you keep good water in your system. Make sure it's really well oxygenated. That feeds the good bacteria. That feeds the plants, feeds the fish, keeps it a nice healthy system. So this is nearly filled up now. So I'm just going to show you what this small aquarium is like after it's full of its first lot of water. Right guys, there it is. There's still a touch cloudy. As you can see, not too bad at all for the first 5 minutes in an aquarium. There you go. Right guys, there it is. Now, don't put fish in that tank straight away. You need the system to settle down. Firstly, you need to check your temperatures. Make sure your temperature's staying at about 76 degrees. That's a nice starting point. Before you put any fish in, see what temperature range the fish live in. Water parameters, you don't have to go too anal into being what GH, KH, ammonia's not, blah blah, pH and all that. I'll put a little bit of aquarium salt in it in a couple of days, and a little bit of bicarb soda, and that will just settle the system down to say the parameters that my fish like. So I'll let it settle down for 3 or 4 days. Just put a little bit of food in just to get the nitrogen cycle going, and that good filter to take all the bad bacteria out. You will find when I put a couple of fish in, it will go into a bloom, and I've just got to wait then for that bloom to, that can take up to 3-4 weeks for that to cycle. You're not going to get gin clear water straight away, but with that system you are going to get gin clear water eventually. So you have to see my other systems here. We're halfway through a water change here. Look how clean that is. Not even had a water change yet. Okay, so that's it guys. Thanks to my subs, thanks to the comments, keep them coming, and see you soon tubers. Happy Mother's Day. Gin clear. Not yet.